Hi there, Jamberry Insiders. Angie here to show you some application tips and tricks and my favorite way of applying my jams. First things first, before you put your jams on, before you even get started, some things that I've noticed really help extend the life of my jams. I wash my hands with Dawn soap. Good old-fashioned Dawn, what you use to clean your dishes. It helps get all the oils out and gives a really smooth surface for my jams to adhere to. And then I also like this puppy, our strengthening base coat. I do a couple coats of this, let it dry, wash them, all that jazz. And this, I've tried so many different strengthening coats, and honestly, and I'm not even saying this because I sell this stuff, this is one of the best around. So definitely get yourself one of these. We have a bunch of other great base coats if you have problems with ridges or bumps on your nails and things like that. But if you're just looking for a good old base for a polish or even to wear in between jams, I highly recommend this. So once you've washed your hands, once you've put on any polishes or undercoats that you want, the next thing that you want to do is you want to get an alcohol pad. Some people use acetone. I don't like acetone because it's very damaging to your nails. But I just use a good old-fashioned alcohol swab. You can get some in your Jamberry application kit if you've got one of those. Otherwise, you could just use alcohol on a cotton swab or anything like that. And just prep your nails. Just go through, wipe them all down, and make sure that you're cleaning off any of the surfaces that you're going to put your Jamberries on. Tonight, I am just going to be doing this little accent ring finger here. I've already done this hand with our lacquers, and then a little fishnet, you can see it, accent. I'm going to do this hand today. This is actually my off hand, so I'm going to show you how easy it is to put on jams. You can even do it with your non-dominant hand. So I've cleaned off my nails with my alcohol pad, let them dry out a little bit. And now I want to get all my cuticles pushed back. So you can use an orange stick, you can use whatever you like. I love my little rubber cuticle pusher that I also got in my Jamberry application kit. And if you order from me, especially if you order a buy 3 get 1 free, I usually throw in one of these in a little mini nail file at no extra cost. So something to keep in mind if you need to order. So what I like to do then is I just like to go in and I like to push back all these nasty cuticles, get them out of the way because you don't want your jams adhering to those. And then once those are all out of the way, I also like to take my little buffing block and I just like to give it a few, little back and forth to make sure that I have lots of clean surface on my nails so that my jams can adhere to it really well. So once you've got your nails all prepped for application, you want to go through and you want to find the jam that you use. So I know that I need this one right here, the other half of this one. But it's nice because there's a clear back on them, so you just want to go through and kind of line them up with your finger. And the important thing when you're applying your jams is that it's better that your wrap be just a little bit too small and maybe that there's a gap on the sides, just a little tiny one, than for it to be too big. Because if it touches your nails or your cuticle, it's going to cause that buckling and for it to come up because it's not going to get a good seal. So you definitely want to make sure that the whole wrap is actually on your nail and that it's not touching any skin or cuticle. Once I find my wrap, I cut it out. Just get a little underneath here. And then, it's very important, you want to make sure that you don't actually touch the jam. You want to take it off with tweezers or your orange stick, or I just use the back of my cuticle pusher because I don't need extra tools then. This is my method that I like to do. There are definitely a ton of other ways that you can put it on. And honestly, my biggest tip for people is trial and error. You'll find the way that you're most comfortable with. Practice first with accent nails so you're not wasting a whole sheet, or call me and I'll send you out some samples to play around with so you don't have to waste your money on these. But definitely, just because maybe one way doesn't work, don't give up, because there's, between YouTube and getting with your rep and talking to them, you can find a way that'll work for your nails, I promise. My first set looked like a 5-year-old put them on, and I gradually got better and better, and now I feel like every application is better than the rest. So just keep working at it. It will come naturally eventually. You just got to get used to it. So that's my spiel. Mine is kind of a collaboration of a bunch of different ways, including the original Jamberry application method. But you've got it on your stick, so you just want to very carefully kind of match it up to where you think it's going to go, and then touch just the bottom part, just this little part right here to the very bottom of the cuticle. I'll push it on there, and then very lightly take it off your stick. And then what I like to do is I like to take my fingers first, press down here, press up, and then around, all in here. And then I take my little cuticle pusher and I really get it in there, really dig it in, get it in the cuticle. Okay. Before you press it down, nice thing about this, because you're not heating it first, is that if it is a little bit crooked or you do need to make some adjustments, it's easy to kind of reposition it a little bit. And I really have shaky hands, so that's why this is my favorite way to do it. Okay. So once you kind of get all the smoothness and everything on there, I like to start off by taking my rice bag. Just made one of these real quick and easy with my sewing machine. If you host a party for me, a lot of times I have this as an option for one of my hostess gifts, or I can include them in some special deals that I have going on. If you're a part of my insiders page, check it out, because I give these puppies away a lot. And I throw them a lot too. BRB. But once I zap this in the microwave for 20-25 seconds, get it out, and once everything's all smooth, I just push it on there. Metallics sometimes take a little more heat than the regular wraps do. I have a guide on my page that will tell you which wraps need a lot of heat and which ones don't need as much heat. But I like to give these a good lot of pressure and heat so that they really stay on there. Alright, and then once I've heated, I go back around with my little stick, smooth out any more bubbles or kinks. And then I wait. Normally if I were doing all of my fingers, I would finish them all, and then I would go back and cut them and seal them, or cut them and file them down. But since we're only doing an accent nail, we want to give this a few minutes to kind of, you don't ever want to file it or clip it down when it's still hot, because that's where you get the lifting on the nails. So sometimes people get a little too eager and they take their clippers or their nail file to it right away, and then they wake up the next morning and it's lifting off. So you want to just make sure that you give it time to cool down on its own. If you're really, really impatient, I guess you could, if you wanted to, throw your hand in an ice box, but it's not that serious. Just give it a few minutes, it'll be okay. So once it's cooled down, oh, it looks like I'm giving you a bird there, you can clip it or trim it. I like to, depending on how long it is, if it's real long, I'll just use my little handy dandy nail clippers. But this isn't really actually too long. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through and trim off any of this excess. One thing that I forgot to mention is that I typically don't like to cut my nails or file them until after I'm done applying my jam. Just saves you a step. And sometimes if they're really long, then I'll just clip off my nail with the wrap so I get a nice even cut, and then I'll file down the rest. So once I have that excess pushed through, what I like to do is I like to take my nail file, and you just want to file down, okay? Straight down, no side to side, no all around, just straight old 90-degree angle. And you'll notice that the wraps, that excess part of the wrap will start to fall off. We'll just file it away until it's not there anymore. Little end piece is a little stubborn. If you get a stubborn piece that's hanging on, just take your scissors again. Oh, I cut it good the first time. Cut it down. And file. And then I go back around with my little cuticle pusher. Kind of make sure everything's good and press down. And then my last step is I grab my Jamberry heater. This thing is a lifesaver. You most definitely could get by with your hair dryer or blow dryer, but the beautiful thing about the Jamberry mini heater, hands-free. Don't have to hold one blow dryer with one hand. You could just got it all right here. It's a nice even heat, pretty quiet. So once I get that done, then what I like to do is I just like to get some more heat going. Really press it down with my fingers. Sometimes if my nails are long enough, I'll just tap so I can seal the tips right there. So this guy right here, this little end right here, does not want to go away. Give it another good seal. Talk amongst yourselves. And there you have it. Quick, easy, painless. Pretty easy to do. I think so. And there's the final product. Can you see it? Can you really see it? As far as lifting or bubbling or anything that you have the next day, I usually find that if I do have a little crease here and there the next morning, all I do is I get this out, I heat it up again, either with my rice bag or my Jamberry heater, and I just smooth it down, and that usually helps. If you're really active, you do a lot of hand washing and whatnot, you can brush the tips with nail glue. I did it once to see if it extended the life of my nails, and honestly, I didn't really notice a difference. If you put them on the right way and seal them properly, I think they'll last just as long without the glue. But it is something that you can try if you're having problems, if you find that they are always lifting up there. Otherwise, check out YouTube. Check out my Insiders page. I always try and keep everyone updated on any little tips and tricks that I learn. Or if you have any, please post them on my page as well. And I hope to party with you sometime soon. Thanks for listening to me. I don't like videos, and you've been a very gracious audience. Have a great night.